Hey guys, first and foremost, let me make something clear right off the bat. I love the Chinese high speed railway system. Why? Well, I'm a traveler and it makes my life so much easier. These trains are very fast and they have stations all over the country. The existence of these railway networks has opened up travel possibilities that were previously impossible. Now, look, I'm not like one of these opportunistic shills that's going to come on here and lie to you about how shocked they were by the trains. Oh, wow, it's a train. Oh, I can't believe it. Oh, they're living in the future. It's a train. Look, listen, guys, you're not going to get that kind of garbage on this channel. But I will admit, the trains are freaking awesome, especially for travelers like me. I ride China's trains a lot. I usually ride what I call the Gaotie, which is essentially just Mandarin for HSR. In other words, I'm on the Chinese bullet trains a lot. I do sometimes have some nice interactions with some of the staff in the station and on the trains themselves. Some of the workers are very polite and professional. I also sometimes bump into friendly fellow passengers. Like I've mentioned 1,000 times on my channel, China has a lot of really nice people. They just do. But I have to be honest here. Sometimes riding these trains can be quite stressful. I'm making this video to vent a little bit, but also to share some things with you all so that if you do come to China, you won't be blindsided by some unexpected surprises. Sometimes train rides go completely smooth with no hiccups. But lately, that rarely seems to be the case. First of all, when you go to the train station to buy a ticket, you need to present your passport at the window in order to be able to purchase one. Did I mention that while you're waiting in line, there's a 50-50 chance that you'll have people trying to cut you in line? That's also highly annoying, and it's even worse when the worker there at the window allows them to cut in line and still gives them service. But anyway, back to the passport thing. So you show your passport once when you buy the ticket. And then when you go through the first gate, you have to show your passport again. The next step is the security check where they send your bags through the x-ray machine and they wave their wand over your front and backside for security precautions. I suppose that's a good thing, right? I mean, extra security is always good. Safety is the most important thing. But the way about 90% of these security workers act as if they are cops and I'm some sort of suspect, telling me with an unfriendly tone to stand here, turn around, okay, go. Nah, that ain't it, hun. I'm a paying customer, not a suspect, and that's the wrong attitude. I usually just let it slide. After all, what can I do? The correct words would be first, with a smile, good morning, afternoon, or evening, sir, depending on the time of day. Okay, could you please turn around? Thank you for your cooperation and have a wonderful day. Now that's more like it. But out of the hundreds of times I've ridden the high speed train in China, I've never encountered someone like that. The level of manners can vary, but at best, it's almost never all that good. Okay, so I make it through security. Next stop, the waiting area. When the train is getting near, they check our tickets and let us go down to the platform. Once again, they need to check my passport. Are you keeping count, guys? That's 3 checks so far just to ride a train. Then, when the train arrives, the masses crowd around the doors, cutting in line, and I'm often left toward the back because I'm just not really willing to get caught up and force my way to the front. I'm kind of like, nah, screw this. I'll just let them push me to the back of the line. I mean, what's the big hurry, right? We do have assigned seats and all. Then, when I do get on the train, it's common to have someone already sitting in my assigned seat. So then we have to go through the whole, excuse me, I believe this is my seat? Oh, really? What's your seat number? The one you're sitting in, numbskull. Of course, I don't say that, but sometimes you want to. Now, once I'm settled in my seat, I start to relax. I get my iPad out and turn on a podcast or audiobook. And just when I get into it, the train attendant walks past and asks to see my, you guessed it, passport. I really, really want to say, I've already shown it 3 times. Sorry, but I'm not showing it again. But again, I just cooperate. Some battles are not worth fighting. So, for most of my train rides, I need to show my passport 4 times. That's simply absurd. Hey guys, 你们想学中文吗? Do you know what I just said there? I just asked you if you want to study Chinese in Chinese. I personally think you should, and here's why. There are Chinese people all over the world, so your chances to use it are limitless. It could also open up new opportunities for you in life. I have partnered with the amazing team at Excel Mandarin, and I encourage you to go check them out. If you want to learn Chinese, you need to start practicing now. People say it's the hardest language, but do not let that intimidate you. Learning Chinese is super fun, and once you start learning, it just becomes a fun hobby. I learned Chinese on the streets of China, fumbling my way around, and never started with a good, solid foundation. So I had to go back and try to correct all of my old bad habits later on. With Excel Mandarin, they'll take you from zero to conversational in just 10 months or less, and you'll learn from native speakers, so you will learn everything correctly the first time. They have a variety of courses, small class sizes, 24/7 support, friendly, enthusiastic teachers, and a comprehensive website and curriculum that will have everything you need to become a Chinese speaker. They even let you try one class for free. So come on, break out of your comfort zone and give it a shot. You'll thank me later. Please go check them out today. You can contact them by phone or email. Links below. And oh yeah, I almost forgot the most important part. Be sure and tell them Mr. Chopsticks sent you. But this isn't the biggest issue. In fact, it's far from it. Once I'm on the train, almost without fail, one of the following things will happen, or a combination of them. Someone near me is munching on sunflower seeds, which, if you've never heard a Chinese person eat sunflower seeds, let me tell you, it's not a pleasant thing. They crack the shells open in a really loud way, and they will keep crunching on them for the entire ride, leaving shells and a mess all over the floor. I personally think sunflower seeds should be banned on the HSR, but obviously that will never happen. Or there's a guy nearby snoring like he's got the worst case of sleep apnea known to man. Snores that could give you a damn heart attack. Or someone is there watching videos with the volume cranked up to the max. And of course, no headphones on. Or a kid playing with the tray behind my seat and kicking the living hell out of my chair while the parent says absolutely nothing. Now, these are the most common things. Of course, people having their phone ringers on full blast and then shouting into their phones instead of speaking at a low or even a normal volume. This is all ultra common stuff. Here are a few situations that I've experienced lately that have really irked me. I was on a train that was almost empty, but there was an older man standing in the aisle, rubbing his back on the side of my chair, and then holding on to the top of my chair and doing stretching exercises. Of course, his proximity to me was not cool at all, and he was shaking my chair. I was pissed, but I didn't want to have a confrontation with the old guy, so finally I just got up and moved to the other end of the carriage. A couple of weeks ago, I got onto a crowded train and sat down in my seat. There was a lady next to me sound asleep. She was knocked out. I noticed there was a bad smell near me, but I couldn't pinpoint what it was or where it was coming from. Finally, I followed the stench to its source. The sleeping lady next to me had a dead chicken in a bag that smelled like absolute ass. I snapped a photo of it, which you can see here. I chose to just ignore it and allow myself to slowly become desensitized to the rotting chicken's stench. Moments later, the lady woke up. After she woke up, she coughed. A really hoarse and nasty cough. This wasn't a normal cough. And then she sneezed. And then she coughed again. And it continued. She never once covered her face. This lady was obviously very sick. COVID has been going around. I'm guessing she probably had COVID or the flu. Now, I felt bad for her and all, but I wasn't too thrilled to be stuck sitting next to her. And the stinky chicken certainly didn't help matters. So, when the train stopped, I got up and found an empty seat. As soon as we started riding again, I heard it. There was someone just behind me eating sunflower seeds. And whoever it was cracking those shells open with a sound that could travel through the entire carriage. I couldn't take it. I got up and walked to a completely different carriage. I found an empty seat and sat in it. Then I heard someone nearby eating sunflower seeds again. But this was a younger lady who was being a little quieter with it. Oh well, I'm not moving again, I thought to myself. At the next stop, it turned out that I was in a guy's seat. So I got up, let him sit down, and then just across the aisle next to him, I sat in the empty chair that was right there. After we were both seated, the guy said, "Oh, are you sure you don't want this seat?" Which was kind of nice of him, but I told him, "Well, I'm already sitting here now and you're already there, so I guess let's just keep it like this." Then the guy made a phone call and spoke loudly for a long time. I'd say roughly about a 15-minute phone call of him speaking very loudly into his phone. And then after he got off the phone, he started rubbing on his big beaded bracelet. You'll see these in China. They rub on them almost like it's some kind of Buddhist meditation type of thing. And a lot of these beads will be in the shape of some kind of nut. The beads on his bracelet weren't, they were just big, round, smooth beads. But there he sat, rubbing on them, clacking and cracking the beads together, making all kinds of noise. He did this for the remainder of the trip. And then, just the other day, I was on a different train and a guy sat next to me. He put his wife's shopping bag on the overhead rack, literally just over my head. Just after that, she told him that there was something in it that she needed. So again, he stood up, stood over me, rummaging through the bag, which I could see had a ton of loose items on the top. And one wrong move, and something was going to fall on my head. I put my arms up above my head to protect myself. He didn't end up taking anything out that time, but then she said something to him again, so once again, he stood up, stood over me, and went back to rummaging. This time I decided to put some faith in him that he'd be careful, especially as he had just seen my concern with my arms up protecting my head. And then, almost in slow motion, I saw a rectangular battery pack falling down. I could see it spinning, heading straight toward my face. I tried to get my arms back up, but I wasn't fast enough, and the edge of that thing cracked me right in the center of my upper forehead, right on the hairline. I touched my head, checking for blood. Luckily, there was none. The guy who dropped it on me was laughing with an embarrassed sort of laugh and expression on his face and said in English, "Sorry, sorry." I mean, what could I say? Could I say, "Oh, it's fine, don't worry about it"? No, I couldn't say that because the fact is, it was not fine. So I just said, "Okay, okay." A few seconds later, he asked me in English if I was okay. I mean, it hurt, but I was obviously fine. I wanted to tell him, "Listen, bro, accidents like that cannot happen. You've got to be more careful, my man. What if it was a small child next to you and you dropped that thing on the kid's head?" But instead, I just bit my tongue and said with a straight face, it's okay, I'll be okay." A few months ago, I was traveling with my girlfriend and the passport scanner wouldn't work, so the young lady working there sort of hit my hand out of the way and said, "Give it to me." Then she took my passport and entered my info manually, and then she started asking my girlfriend what my phone number was. Guys, I've taken the high speed rail hundreds of times in China, and they have never asked me that when checking my passport to let me head down to the platform. This was the first time ever out of hundreds of train rides. Obviously, this girl didn't know how to do her job correctly, which is forgivable. But hitting my hand out of the way and "give it to me," that attitude, that rudeness, was not. However, I kept my cool because I didn't really want to tell that lady off in front of my girlfriend and put a damper on our fun day ahead. My girlfriend was very surprised at my patience. She even said, "I thought you were going to snap at her when she hit your hand out of the way." Well, to be honest, I usually would have, but today I'm being extra patient because you're here, I replied. Guys, I could go on and on about this, but I think you get the point. What I've mentioned here only scratches the surface. I'm not trying to be a negative Nilly or anything, but damn! Why must almost every train ride feel like I'm stuck in a scene that one would only see in a comedy movie? Not the kind of scene where people laugh with the character in the story, but one where the audience is laughing in a "geez, must suck to be him" kind of way. All that said, I will still be using the trains on a regular basis, and I'm grateful for their existence. I'm just hoping I can get a break from the madness once in a while. How about you? Have you ever been to China? If you have, I'm almost certain you rode some of the trains as well. Let me know about some of the things you saw or experiences you had in the comment section below. Thanks for tuning into the video, guys, and we will catch you in the next one. 下次再见. I want to give an extra special thanks to all of my YouTube members and Patreon supporters for their help in keeping this channel financially sustainable. Thanks to all of my grasshoppers and tigers, and an extra special thanks to my Pichio gang. And lastly, a huge shout out to my top tier supporters, Lee, Martin S., and David is Dawei. I see you guys, and I just want to let you know I appreciate it so much. Oh, and just so you know, you guys rock.
What do you look for beyond the sea, grasshopper?